Good morning, Hammers fans. It's Nick from Claret and Booze, and this is my daily show. I hope you're all well. It's Friday. We made it to the weekend. Great result yesterday. We're gonna touch on that. I'm going to look ahead to the Villa game, and then I'm going to give you an update, a really promising update on Paqueta or Paqueta. I don't know how you say it, but all I know is that is a signing that will make the fan base explode because we all want this player now. So. Yeah, I'll get into that later. Like I say, really promising. I was dismissing it earlier in the week. We reported it last week, then it went quiet. But now, well, stick around. Okay, if you are new to the channel, as always, please subscribe to Claret and Booze and drop us a like on that video as well, because that really helps us. Okay? Right, let's start with Viborg last night. Good performance, good solid performance. We can't read too much into it because obviously Viborg are inferior opposition to us, but you can only beat what's in front of you, can't you? And yeah, that was a good performance. Scamacca again looked superb, as did Cornet. Benrahma again. I mean, like I say, I was probably his biggest critic last year since he's been in. I'll hold my hands up, but it looks like Moyes has finally done what we've all been asking him to do, and that's kind of remove the shackles from that player. And he's been brilliant. I mean, even against Brighton, where people were kind of criticising him because he wasn't getting much joy, that was because Potter saw Benny as a threat. They doubled up on him. They had two players on him for the whole game. And funnily enough, when Scamacca did come on, Moyes made the incorrect sort of substitutions, moved Benny from the left-hand side, put him in the middle. And basically what that allowed Potter to do immediately was remove that those two players that were marking Benrahma. Veltman dealt with Antonio. March was allowed to bomb down the wing. Then he immediately brought on the left back, didn't need to cope with Bowen. Trossard on the other side went. And that change that he made there by removing Benny, who a lot of people thought was ineffective in an attacking sense, that killed the game. You know, Potter made a tactical change to win the game. And David Moyes made a tactical change to win the game for Brighton. It was bizarre. But like I say, this weekend is a new game. We'll get onto that in a minute. Last night, brilliant, really good performance. We've got some momentum now. Well, we've got momentum if Moyes starts some of those players, because there's no point winning 3-0 with a group of players and then changing it completely at the weekend and putting in the players that have been struggling. There is no sense in that. I'm not going to get into Souček. I know he got an assist and he got a goal. I still don't think he starts at the weekend. He shouldn't. But we'll see what happens. I mean, that's probably cemented his place in the team now for the next 20 games, irrespective of his performances. But all I care about is a result, all right? It is as simple as that. So it was job done yesterday. Really good. Well done, lads. Let's take that momentum with those players now. So I think in terms of the players I'm referring to, I'm saying Scamacca, Cornet, and Benrahma. They were all good. They looked like a really good, solid front three. But Fornals played well. He was slipping them in, because what Fornals does well, he moves the ball incredibly quickly, and you need that in that number 10 position. You don't want a ball. You don't necessarily need a ball carrier when you've got that sort of pace that can get in behind. You want somebody who don't need 3 touches, somebody who can just pick a pass, bang, go, and that is what Fornals can do. He demonstrated that against Brighton, when right at the start of the game, he slipped Bowen through with a great pass, first time pass, bang, straight through. But then after it kind of deteriorated because Fornals seemed to regress and Souček went further up. And obviously Souček can't do that. He hasn't got that sort of ability. So yeah, I'd like to see those players start. It was great to see Ogbonna back, wasn't it? I don't think anyone necessarily had a bad game. Kera had a couple of little sort of slips and trips, but he grew into the game. He got better as the game went on, and he demonstrated that he's got some good aerial threat as well, which for somebody who looks like quite a diminutive sort of centre back, he looks. I think his confidence, and I think the fact that he's gone straight into the team and Moyes is persisting with him, I can only imagine that part of that deal that forced that deal through was the fact that we've got the World Cup coming up. I'm sure that Kera would have sought assurances from David Moyes to be in that team so that he can be going. Well, he can go to the World Cup. So I think that Moyes looks like he's going to persist with Kera. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think he's an issue. He hasn't started particularly well, but his pedigree suggests that he's a good player. So I think we should stick with him at the moment. Yeah, like I say, job well done. But Scamacca proved again, and this isn't a slight on Antonio, okay, but Scamacca is infinitely superior to Antonio as a striker, as a number 9. You saw that with his movement, with his goal. The first time finish. He's brilliant. And he isn't just a kind of a target man that sits up front and waits for things to happen. He does drop deep. So if he's getting no joy, he will drop deeper to get involved into the game, which is what we need. He has to start. Moyes did allude to the fact that Cornet and Scamacca are ready to start. He said that. He was quoted as saying that after the game. Whether or not that materialises or not, we don't know. What I would say is, before I move on to what we all want to talk about, is I want to touch on the way that Moyes and some of the players have come out and been quite outspoken about the fans in this past week. Now, for a start, I think they're talking too much. They are. They're in no position with the way that they've been performing, not just for the last 3 games. We've won 1 Premier League game in 13, and that was against Norwich, okay? It isn't 3 games. West Ham fans are not being fickle. This has been building up. The European success last year, well, not success, but the European journey masked a really poor second half of the season. It did. This is a continuation of that, and it is a continuation of that because we're playing the same players. It's the same team. So for them to come out and sort of start criticising the fan base, obviously first we had Deck, not critical, but kind of alluding to the fact that he was shocked and upset that the fans booed. We're not Man City. For a start, that's not really what you want to be hearing. But then you've got Soufal coming out in the press and saying, you can praise me when I'm doing well, you can do this when I'm doing well, but you mustn't have a go at me when I'm struggling. Well, that's not. If you go to a top Premier League club, Vladimir, which we are, we're one of the top 10 clubs in the country, which makes us one of the biggest clubs in the world because the Premier League is the biggest competition in world football. Then there is expectation in the fan base. You're playing in front of 60,000 fans, and you'll lap up the adulation when things go well. You have to expect criticism when things aren't going well, because that's the club that you play for, mate. You're not playing in the second division. If you're not pulling your socks up, if you ain't doing well, if you're making mistakes, then the crowd are going to get on your back. Suck it up, all right? I mean, I think that goes for a lot of these players as well now. I mean, now they're so thin-skinned, aren't they? It's really pissing me off. If you've got a problem with the way that West Ham fans are reacting, then change it. And you can change it by putting 100% in on that football pitch. West Ham fans are not expecting us to win the league. We're not. The one thing that West Ham fans have always been associated with is non-tolerance of lazy bastards. We don't like it. And I'm not calling Soufal a lazy bastard, by the way. I'm just saying, in general, the performances that we've seen this year have been lacklustre. West Ham fans we won't cope very well with that. It was the same over Upton Park. It was no different, We're not accepting of lazy players or players that don't try hard. Gary alluded to the fact in his Monday video that West Ham fans adored Ian Dowie. Not because he was good, because he weren't. He was the opposite of good. But he gave 100% on the pitch. We loved him. We loved him for it. So that's part and parcel. Results are important to us, but a performance is important. And a performance is probably more important than anything else to us at the minute. And David Moyes, right? We take the piss out of people like Jurgen Klopp for making excuses. I'll tell you what, he is really, really starting to confuse me with some of the stuff that he's coming out with. He's making it look like he's losing the plot with some of the things that he says. He hangs himself out to dry time and time again. I mean, it started at the start of the season, didn't it? By him bemoaning after every single defeat, saying the same thing. Oh, the team's stale, the players' stale. Well, you've got to change it, Dave. It is, as Gary said on Monday, it's in your hands. And then John made a follow-up video on Wednesday, and he made some good points. He did make some good points. But I'm going to say this now. They're professional footballers. They're playing for a top club. There are no excuses now. If people like Eddie Irvine, who's been gone now for, a year, 18 months, were so critical, why has he not been sufficiently replaced? If people like Stuart Pearce were so key to the backroom staff. Why has he not been so sufficiently replaced? You know, if we're lacking leaders and characters, why have we not got more leaders and characters in the team? You know, basically what I'm saying is this now is David Moyes' baby. When he came in for the last 2 years, he's had the excuse. Well, he's been able to make excuses because he's been working with somebody else's team. Well, this isn't somebody else's team now, Dave. You spent almost 300 million over the. This is your third season now, and there's almost 300 million spent. This has basically got your hands all over it now. Your fingerprints all over it. This is your team. You've got to take responsibility for it. Get the best out of what you've got. Stop pissing and moaning. Stop coming out and saying things that you don't need to say, and just concentrate on the football. Okay, that's all you've got to do. Because at the moment, as it stands, I've lost faith in you. I have. I'm not saying I want you sacked. The main reason I wouldn't want you sacked at the minute is because I'm terrified of who the club will replace you with because of their track record. So in the sense of better the devil you know, which is the way that I'm feeling at the moment because I don't trust Sullivan. You know, I've got a feeling bloody Warburton will come in or something like that. I don't want that. I would prefer that you just got back to being what you were in the last 2 seasons, which is a functional manager. That's it. And the other thing I want to say before I move on to Paqueta is people have this obsession with support the manager. Support the manager. What's wrong with you? I don't understand that. I really don't. If you've got a manager as a functional part of the team that I support, I don't support Moyes FC. I support West Ham. Now, if the manager's doing well, it's no different to a player doing well. They're fine. They can stay. If a player starts struggling and they start affecting the team and damaging the team, I want that player fucking replaced. I want him replaced. It's no different to the manager. There is no difference there. If that manager does what he did at the weekend against Sunday, like I say, Brighton were okay. They were good, but we played into their hands. It was tactically inept from David Moyes. We were set up from the start to fail. If we start seeing that on a regular basis, then Moyes is no longer a functional manager. It's not personal. I want him replaced with somebody that can do it. Now, it's not an unrecoverable situation. Moyes has a lot of credit in the bank. If we win on Sunday, or at the very least put in a fantastic performance and we're genuinely unlucky, something like that, and we can give ourselves some momentum to build on and then go on and put some good performances in the games that follow, which are incredibly tough, by the way. Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle. You know, he's got to make changes. He's got to be seen to be making changes. He has to. Because if I will be Moyes out, I'm telling you now, I think if he does what he did last weekend and the weekend before and the weekend before that, plays the same team with the same tactics, does the same thing again, if he does it again and it fails, at that point, I probably am going to start to be edging on Moyes out. I am. But as I say, as it stands at the moment, it's in his hands. He can recover this situation. He does have credit in the bank. Albeit more and more people are jumping on. It's not a bandwagon. More and more people are getting frustrated. We don't want to get relegated. And it isn't unfeasible with our recent run of form, which is crap. But look, on to more exciting news. As we know, look, and let's look at it from a positive perspective, all right? David Moyes has gone out and bought a load of players, even though we haven't seen enough of them. We've got we should have a new look team now. You know, you've got the likes of Cornet, Scamacca. I don't know what's happened with Downs. I'll get into that on another video. That's pissed me off. I think that lad should have just gone to Palace because I don't think we're going to use him. We've got Kera, we've got Areola, and now we're linked with who I think would literally be the final piece of our puzzle, and that is a really top, world-class attacking third player. Somebody who's got magic in their boots, who can feed all of that pace and brilliant players in front of them. You know, Scamacca, Bowen, Cornet, Benny. You know, 4 players now that we've got to choose from for 3 positions, which we've not had for a while. And I know we've got Antonio as well. We can fill in for Scamacca and they can interchange and stuff. But to sit in that hole, which is where Souček has been occupying, you know, even against Brighton, when bloody Fornals should have been in there, it ended up being Souček just basically meandering around, playing 1-2s with his mate on the wing, which go nowhere, and then just desperately trying to get in the box to get on the end of something. You know, I don't want that. I want somebody who is a footballer in that position, somebody who can pick a pass, so that we can switch the way that we attack, so it hasn't got to always be down the flanks. Get it down the wide, get it wide. whip it in, whip it in. It's one-dimensional. You need to be able to mix it up. Yes, that's a good threat to have, but we need to be able to play through and cut through the middle. And as we spoke about last week, and as I said at the start of this video, and I did dismiss it, this man, Lucas Paqueta. Now, the rumour's been around since the start of August. There are a raft of clubs interested in this guy. He is literally almost like the first name on the team sheet for Brazil. He genuinely is. He's got a great partnership with Neymar. He's brilliant. This guy is brilliant. Now, rumours are, which is a bit strange, rumours are he can be a bit of a petulant character. He's a maverick. The guy is a maverick. He's a bit of a hothead. So it's going to be interesting to see how David Moyes deals with this guy. Because if he brings him in and says, I'm gonna put you on the bench and let you acclimatise, I think this geezer's going to kick off. But I can't imagine we would ever spend what we are rumoured to be of bid for this player. If we spend that on him, he goes straight in. And that is, we went in with a 40 million bid. Leon turned it down flat. We went in with 45. They turned it down flat. Basically, I think what they want is 60 million euros and some add-ons. Well, we're now at a stage where basically I think we've all, because we went in with 55 and we've gone in again. And talks last night were really, really positive. Apparently, personal terms are agreed. We've already agreed personal terms. The agent's been in London. There is a rumour about him going to Spurs, but that's bollocks. That ain't going to happen. They don't need him. We do. That's a lot of money to spend on a player that you don't need. All of the top teams have got players in that position. So if he comes to us, he's in. He's going to want to play. He ain't going to want any nonsense sort of going into Chelsea or Man United and just being part of the squad. I don't believe that. I think he wants to come in. He's sold on the move. The financial package in terms of personal terms is supposed to be about 5 million a year. So it's a good salary for him. It's a brilliant wage. That's all agreed. It's just getting the agreement in place with Leon, who we know are kind of notoriously horrible to deal with. But yeah, this looks like it's going to happen. I was dismissing it. I wasn't, I was just getting fed up about everything. I didn't even get excited about Emerson coming in, who is a brilliant signing. It's an upgrade on Cresswell. Fantastic. But because these players have just not been starting, I've been getting, it's almost like, what's the point? We've got all these players in. They're not starting. This guy will start. This guy will change the way that West Ham play. He will transform us. He will be our next Payet, our new Payet. It might even be better, okay, in terms of the way he influences this team. We've got a team full of good players. We've been missing a few key pieces. This is a world-class player. World-class, okay? And I really hope that they do this and they pull this over the line. I think the fact they've made it public now suggests that I think they're almost going to have to get it done, because all that's going to happen is that the fan base are going to be really pissed off now if we don't get this one in, because Moyes has come out and confirmed it. Sullivan's confirmed it. We're going in. I'm telling you, unless somebody comes in like Newcastle and completely gazumps us, this is a done deal. So yeah, just a few other little bits and pieces. You got Vanaken, who we're going back in for another go for. Don't really get that one unless it is literally to replace Souček, because you don't need Souček and Vanaken. And I ain't necessarily saying I want Souček gone from the club. I'm not saying that. Okay, I think he can serve a purpose in certain games. He should never ever be the first team on any team sheet. Not on our team sheet. He's not a functional enough player. He's got a very specific skill set for certain scenarios. So yes, he can be useful. He has clearly got a goal threat, but to sit him in the middle next to Dek, it leaves Dek exposed. It's not good enough. We need more in central midfield. We need more creativity. So Vanaken is a little bit more than Souček. He plays on the floor. He's a creative player, even though he's 6'11". But yeah, good player. So if he does come in, that's fine. Be a really good squad player, and he's a leader as well. We're still linked with Bailly. There's still other players that we're linked with, but it does look as though all focus has been switched on Paqueta for the time being. So I think that they're going to do everything to get that deal done. And we're still talking to Chelsea about loaning Gallagher. So we could end up with a central midfield of Declan Rice, Gallagher, with Paqueta in front of him, Scamacca. And then in the wide positions, you know, the inside forwards or whatever, you've got Bowen, you've got Cornet, you've got Ben Rama. Ben Rama is like a new signing as well, literally, because he was pretty useless for the last year or so. Numbers were good, but the way he affected the game really weren't great. Different player now. Yeah, it's good. And we've got Emerson on the left-hand side, who will provide a wide attacking threat. We've actually got a left-back who will be encouraged to bomb up the wing with pace. He's got pace, and he will take a player on. And he's got a delivery as well. You know, what's not to like about that? Right back's a bit of a strange one, but we've got so many options there. You know, I don't think Soufal should be at the back of the queue, in my opinion. He has the least ability of all of them. But you've got Johnson, who always does a good job, especially defensively. You've got Ashby, who's an exciting prospect, and I'd like to see him given more game time. And we have got Kehrer as well, who's played a lot as a right back. He played a bit for PSG as a right back as well, so it's not like he's unfamiliar with that position. And the way that he plays, I think, the way he lunges into tackles and stuff, you don't necessarily maybe want that in the middle of the pitch, but out on the right, yeah, you want that. I want someone who's going to stop crosses coming in. You know, Soufal and Cresswell, for the last 2 years, we haven't stopped crosses coming into our box. That's the job of the fullback, is to cut out the supply. But anyway, look, I've rambled on for long enough. So like I say, I hope you enjoyed the video. Look, let's look forward to the weekend anyway, because whatever happens, I think there's going to be changes. Hopefully, David Moyes just fucking sorts himself out, and we can continue on, and he can use the team that he's just built up. You know, that would be less painful for us all. So I'm not saying that I necessarily want him to fail, because I really don't. I'm worried about what happens after Moyes as well. So look, let's hope that David Moyes does sort it out. He gets back on track. He gives some of these new signings game time, and then we can move on. We can forget all about these first 3 games. Yeah, let's get that Paqueta over the line. But like I say, please, it helps us. Subscribe to our channel, Claret and Booze, and that's it from me. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. Happy you ads.